Hey guys, Seafood Les Clements here, Black Dragon Kung Fu. Thanks for watching the channel. So I want to talk about a little bit modern Wing Chun, okay? We know that it comes from much older styles. It's not a reinvention of the wheel. Nonetheless, it's very effective if used in its proper place. So Wing Chun is like a derringer, right? Very small pistol. At close range, very dangerous. But the further away you get, it starts to curve, see? So it's difficult to use Wing Chun in environments that it was not made for. Just like it wouldn't be a good idea to grapple one opponent if you had 6 other opponents ready to strike you. It's the same thing. Martial arts are very diverse, and we can take a lot from all of them. We have a lesson to learn. They're all beautiful. They can all be fascinating. But the idea is that a newer style like Wing Chun comes from the older style, so here's the technique I was talking about. Let's take a version of the flower, which there are infinite thousands of versions. Let's say I'm doing a snake flower this way, attacking with my forearms, right? Let's say I'm doing this motion, heavy, right? Now, this is a very big motion, longer ranges, see? My attack point is here, a long range. What would happen if I put that into a frame small like Wing Chun or Chun, which is the system I practice, which very similar to Wing Chun, but it's not. What would the flower look like in that frame? Well, the flower, remember, is arm over arm. If I'm doing dragon, arm over arm. If I'm doing Wing Chun, it's not gonna be arm over arm. It's gonna be smaller. It's gonna be wrist over wrist. It's going to be on the center. The hands will never cross like they do in the flower, on the center. So the rule in Wing Chun is about not crossing the hands. This is true, but let's look at Silum Tao, the form. What happens? The hands cross right at the beginning of the form. See? Now then we're told never cross the hands in Wing Chun. Now, not all Wing Chun schools, but most of them will say don't cross the hands. And it is true. We wouldn't want to cross our hands doing Chi Sao because we become very vulnerable to getting trapped. But if you learn double hewn is the recipe for avoiding being trapped. So if my hands are crossed like this and there's room and space, he pushes down on one hand and punches, that hewn is going to come right up and block. See? But if my hands cross this bad and he jams me with a gum style and strikes, that's dangerous for me. So I'm not suggesting to cross your hands, but we've got to be careful when we say if they cross their hands, that's done. It's just like written off. Because just because his hands are crossed doesn't mean that he can't break out of a trap. And that's the thing with Wing Chun trapping. There's also a myth in Wing Chun, usually among beginners, mostly beginners, that believe that you can hold someone in a trap and just hold them there, move them around and hit them. Never gonna happen. Even a beginner who knows nothing, they will break out of the trap. That's human nature to overcome things, right? So the trick is the trap is only there long enough to get the shot in. Now I can change the trap. Let's say I trap his hands and hit him. Now I can switch that and keep that going for a little bit, but not long. So remember, trapping does not mean the end of a fight. The opponent's hands get trapped, okay? So with that being said, crossing of the hands in the flower. This is the thing. Oh, see, he's crossing his hands. Now these big styles of Shaolin, it's going to be extremely difficult for a small system like Wing Chun to penetrate this big heavy motion. Am I saying it's impossible? Absolutely not. Anything is possible. It's just harder. It's a lot harder to use Wing Chun against the styles that it came from that are much older, because some of those styles were based on the center line, which is where Wing Chun really gets it. So the arm over arm flower this way in the animal styles is going to be reflected in Wing Chun with the wrist over wrist flower. See? In Wing Chun, the arm is not going to go over the arm because my hands would be crossing here. See, this is bad. With Wing Chun, I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to hewn sao. So the wrist, it's wrist over wrist. If it's small, close quarters like Wing Chun, Chun, wrist over wrist. See? if I were doing that motion. Big styles, arm over arm. Longer range, they're further away, you see? Much further away, completely different. So now with that specified, if I'm doing Wu Bong, I'm using the bottom side of Bong. And I'm driving my fingers over. See this bottom hand Hyungs up into Wu Sao. And this other hand comes down. See? So, from using the bottom side of Bong, this comes from fishing crane, white crane. Fishing goes into the water, grabs a fish, comes up. You see that in our third form here. See, Buji, we drop down, chop. Drop down, chop. Okay, looking, scanning, left to right. See, fishing crane from the side, down, chop, up, down, chop, up, down, chop, up. All that's happening while you're looking, okay? So arm over arm flower, very old, big, wrist over wrist flower, Wing Chun. Now, Quan Sao. Quan Sao touches on this motion. Same thing here. See, if I want to do an arm over arm flower with Quan Sao, it's still going to be wrist over wrist. See? Now I'm doing Quan Sao instead of Wu Bong, you see? Same thing, arm over arm flower. Okay. Quan Sao. See this with snake? Still arm over arm. See? Wing Chun, Quan Sao. Okay, but it's wrist over wrist, not arm over arm. So from these techniques, Wu Bong, Tanda. Or I can go. Simple drill you can practice. Tanda, Tanda. Ganda, Ganda. Go Bong Da, Go Bong Da. Jut Da, Jut Da. Wu Da, Wu Da. Okay? Wu Sao, remember when you do Wu Da, you don't want to push Wu Da. You don't want to push Wu Da out. If your opponent moves, you're gone and you're going to get hit. Wu Da should hold firm. It shouldn't be pushing forward, but it should hold firm. It should not give backwards. A strong punch can break through Wu Sao. Sifu can crush it. Students say to me, sure, you're right. If you just do Wu Sao against someone who's really throwing, exactly, it's going to break like a toothpick. And so are you. Because you have to step in and you have to strike. If you do Wu Da against someone swinging this, and you torque away from them with this Wu and nail them while you're driving forward, it ain't gonna snap. Try it. Try Wu Da, Wu Sao alone against a friend. Put on a glove, have him do a hook. Just try to block with that Wu. It'll never work. Now, if you're more advanced and you throw the Wu and you hit and he's still coming through, whoa, still crushing, maybe he's really powerful. Now you got Bong, see? So Wing Chun is about moving. If you're gonna use it, you can't stay in a restricted frame. So Wing Chun, beginners, I've seen beginners stand here just throwing blows at an opponent who's not close enough to hit. So they figure as soon as the opponent gets close, they'll turn and strike. No, bad idea, okay? Wing Chun is a very aggressive style. So it's going to move forward very fast to try to close the gap and get under the opponent and end the fight right away. Wing Chun is not made, no style is made to sit and wait until the attack's programmed to throw one technique or to move one way. Now let me clear that up. That's different than an experienced martial artist who's just sitting back, right? There's nothing wrong with waiting to see what your opponent's gonna do. If you happen to get into an altercation, okay, you can see your opponent. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying, if you're training this type of a technique and you have the intention of sitting here until your opponent gets too close and then doing this, you're thinking some specific plan in a fight that is never good, okay? So we've got to avoid fighting, yet training safe. Understanding that if you want to break the rules, you have to know the rules. If I want to break the hand trapping rule, I can practice chi sao and make a mistake on tension and cross my hands. So he traps them, so I learn how to get out of that trap. So I spent years doing some bad habits on purpose just to learn how to get out of the problem, okay? Because if you haven't been getting your hands trapped in Wing Chun and getting pushed around and getting worked, you're not really learning how to escape traps. And that is a big part in Wing Chun. A lot to learn. We want to avoid getting our hands trapped, but you also want to learn how to get out of the problem if it happens, okay? So it all depends on level. Someone of a very high level can tell you one thing. Someone not so high can tell you something helpful. Something not so high, someone not so high can still help you. So oftentimes a beginner will go into a school and the lowest student in the class knows more than the beginner. And usually there's someone else there who knows a little bit more. Maybe the owner of the school isn't even there. So you see how it works? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video on the overarm flower, large and small concepts of Wing Chun, some of the mistakes that we get into with Wing Chun. If you found this video helpful, click the like button, even better subscribe. Remember, Patreon is open too. Anything helps, we appreciate it. Just go to the About tab, click on it, it'll take you right to the link. All right, Sifu Les Clements, out.